Hello, good evening. This is Client-Centric Property, and today is a special episode where we have Ivy Yo. Ivy Yo, okay. Ivy Yo with us. She is having 17 years of experience in commercial properties because of the current COVID issues that we are facing. So I'm sure a lot of businesses are looking out for help or assistance. And today we're very lucky to have Ivy, who has 17 years of experience in commercial properties and businesses. And she has come forward, volunteer to be with us today, tonight for this half an hour show. And she will be sharing with you further how to survive for commercial property or biz owners during this COVID-19 period. So if you do have questions, feel free to type in the comments below, and then Ivy and I will try to answer your questions as much as possible today. Thank you. So let us begin. Okay. So Ivy, say hello. We are on live
Hello,
already.
everyone. Hi.
Yes. So Ivy, just want to check with you, right? Okay. Recently, we have a new news on the 2nd of June. But before that comes in, the 2nd of June kicks in, right? I'm sure a lot of businesses, in fact, one of my friend who owns a gym, right? They are a bit worried, and they also want to know what's up now for the subsidies, especially for commercial or even industrial properties. Maybe is it okay you can share more with them with your expertise?
Sure. Okay, so basically, the government has issued the COVID-19 bill. It's actually a legislation that was passed through in the parliament. So basically, right, all tenants, so long as the lease is entered before 25th of March 2020, they are entitled to defer their rent for 6 months. Okay, on top of that, right, they are also entitled to property rebates. The property rebates have already been given to the government. Prior to this, right, there was a lot of like non-visibility as to when, but on the last week of April, all of the properties, be it HDB, industrial, private strata title, industrial properties, they have received rebates. So the rebates is around 30% for industrial private properties and about
30%.
1 month, yeah, about 1 month for HDB shop houses. But bearing in mind, the government is only giving rebates for the commercial component of the shop house, meaning if it's upstairs, it's residential, is excluded. So the stand is very clear. This is initiative is done only to help commercial tenants. So the tenants have the landlords have all received, including like myself, we have received. Okay, so the COVID-19 bill this did illustrate out how to distribute out this rebate. Okay, you can do it on a monthly basis. You can do it in two payment, meaning by every 6 months, or you can give it one shot. But the deadline for the first, if you are doing it just half a year, the deadline is July 2020. So there are details you can Google easily. So at least this is a help that the landlord has to pass down. Meaning if they don't, you can actually file a claim on them, and it's free. It's like the all the legal costs will be bear by the government. So it's something which is one of the rights of the tenant, and it's something which will help you guys to survive in a way, right? Even if it is like like one-off rebate or a monthly prorated rebate, it will help to reduce your cost for sure. So I think it's something which is good to follow up. Maybe some of the landlords, they didn't check the check that came in, or because it's sent to a registered address which might not be the residential address of the landlord. So it's something which I think the tenants should remind if the landlord hasn't contacted you to collect it. Yeah.
Okay, so if like what you said, right, Ivy, if I hear you correctly, you're saying that this subsidy or rebate is passed down from the government to the landlords of these commercial properties, right, or industrial property, and these landlords are supposed to also pass them down to the tenants involved. And you mentioned something like a date like 25th of June or something, is it, or May? So long as
25th
the
of
lease,
March.
or
The lease
25th of
must be
March.
entered before 25th of March. Okay,
Oh, it
so
must be
meaning
before 25th of March.
yeah,
Okay.
so meaning
Mm,
if you have entered a lease recently during circuit breaker, like we had some closing, or
mm.
those you will not get the rebate. It's very clear. It's
Oh,
very clear. The COVID-19 bill is very clear on who can get what, and like the obligation of the landlord and the obligation of the tenant. Yeah,
okay. And then just now you also mentioned another date, which is like July
July.
20th, 2020. So they have
Yes.
to apply for this subsidy thing from the government by July 2020. Is it correct?
No, it's the
Uh,
landlord's responsibility to pass on that. That's the deadline.
oh,
So
for
something
them to
like
pass on to the, oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So that's
If
the
they
deadline.
decide to
Mm,
do half a year, so July will
mm.
be the first time that they are supposed to pass on. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Mm.
Wow, that's very good information. Okay,
No problem. Yeah.
okay. So along the way, if y'all do have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay. If not, then we'll just move on to the next issue. Okay. So Ivy, just want to check with you. So currently, right, can you share more with us? Like, what is the current help now for businesses and commercial property owners?
Okay. So
Mm,
basically, much has been talked about for all the help that is given to businesses. One of it
mm,
is the wages subsidy of
mm,
75%.
mm,
There's also help for loan deferment,
mm,
the rental deferment that is
mm,
under the COVID-19 bill. And there's
mm,
also help in terms of the foreign worker levy, as
mm,
well as the help in terms of like all the
mm,
financial difficulties that they have, there's a lot of fundings available. So there's a few
mm,
places you can go and search. One of it is under ACE, which is Action for Entrepreneurship. Over
mm,
there, there is a lot of SMEs, listed companies, helping to give grants. Like you just need to apply, and of course, you will need to furnish your financial statements. You will need to provide some of them, depending on the grant. Every grant is different. Yeah. So
mm,
I think right now, given that a lot of as we phase out,
mm,
ease out of the circuit breaker to phase one, there's a
mm,
lot of industry that is still in phase two. So I
mm,
would think for those that is in phase two and you have zero revenue,
mm.
it's good time and good chance to look at all the funding available and claim for it. Yeah, because
Okay.
the key now is
Mm,
survival. And
mm,
the way I see it for this crisis is actually cash flow management. And if
mm,
you manage your cash flow well,
mm,
once we get over this, once we get over the phase one, phase two, and the phase three, they were talking about having the
mm,
vaccine there. So I
mm.
would think it's something which, so long as we can get there, we can continue. Yeah. So
Okay.
I would suggest everybody to get whatever help that they can, and the government is giving out a lot of help, and like all the
Mm,
charitable organizations, they are really
mm,
helping. So I think
mm,
it's really a good chance to
mm,
like go online, set up
mm,
websites. Later I will share two grants.
mm,
One particular is a grant to help the owners buy
mm,
laptops,
mm,
get Zoom software, go
mm,
virtual, go online. Yeah, so
mm,
these are things which I think the businesses should really take the advantage.
mm,
There's never a better time now. Just get online. And even Facebook, right? They
mm,
came out with this new app, right, that allow
mm,
people to sell things online. So you
mm.
can tell the whole trend. I mean, everybody is like all out to collaborate and help each other make a living and
Through this
survive.
difficult period. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
This is really
Okay.
nice.
So, Ivy, just now you mentioned ACE, right? Is this a government operated company to help them to do this?
Okay, ACE,
Mm,
right, is actually under Enterprise Singapore. Enterprise Singapore,
mm,
they operate on the grant basis. So meaning to
mm,
say they will take a grant out from
mm,
Enterprise Singapore. Enterprise Singapore is the Spring Singapore, if you
mm,
know not familiar with, because they changed name.
mm, mm,
So basically they are funded on government grants, and their job is to help entrepreneurs. So over
mm,
there there's a lot of grants, like you have the founders grant, if
mm,
you have a intern, or if you
mm,
want to go overseas, like run. I mean, but of course now is it's not a good time.
Mm,
They do have certain like offices for rent on a cheap
mm,
basis, but
mm,
it's at their office in Ayer Rajah. So
mm,
it's good that they kind of consolidate all the funding from the various organization, like
mm.
um, even one of the, I think Ascenders REIT also, help to sponsor a program. So I think there is a lot of help over there because you
Mm.
see, yesterday we have this news that finally,
There's a bit of a hang. Hang on, let's wait for Ivy.
can you hear me? Yeah, sorry about it. So
Yeah, a bit of
uh,
freeze pain. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so
Oh, Benjamin
from the
is here with us. Okay, he's watching you.
okay,
Benjamin
so
from Far
from
East. Okay.
okay.
Yes,
So
yes. Mm,
from the A side, right, you will see all the private funding from the
mm.
various private organization. Yeah,
Wow, that one is an interesting area I haven't tapped upon. The
you
next
can
next
Google.
the
Yeah,
next
you can
interview
Google.
I definitely will ask you again about it. Spring
Okay.
Singapore, right? Okay, okay.
Enterprise Singapore. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay, very good. It's really an eye opener for me. So, besides all this help that you have mentioned, right? Now, Ivy, we're going to move into the part to ask you about. Actually, we do know that there's a new law passed, okay, and it's mentioned something about something is going to change from 2nd of June, 2020, and so definitely, I believe a lot of businesses or property owners from the commercial side, they'll be wondering, how do I do BAU after this? Business as usual.
Uh,
So
okay.
part will need you to share. I know that you also have some slides to share with us. Do you
Mm.
want me to show the slides now, or later you can prompt me and let me know? Mm.
I think you can show now.
Now,
Yeah.
okay,
Show
hold
the
a
slides
second.
now.
Let
Yeah.
me just
Yeah.
confirm
And
the.
we will just cover maybe up to phase one. If not, we see how far we can go because I don't want the thing to go too long as well. Yeah.
Okay. So the
Okay.
person we are speaking to right now is Ivy Yo, right? Ivy Yo, yes. So she's the guru here for commercial of 17 years of experience, okay, in commercial property and businesses. So have any problem about commercial can look for her. Okay, so now we are going to move in. So easing out of the circuit breaker. Over to you, Ivy.
Okay, so yesterday we had this news that finally, like we are coming out of circuit breaker, and so the government is helping us instead of letting us go all out like before. We are going to ease out of circuit breaker in three phases. So the phase one, right, it will be open for only certain activities. So bulk of the activities, like real estate, is still not is under phase two lah. So for phase one, unfortunately, yeah. So basically, they are only opening those economic activities that do not pose a high risk of transmission. And okay, so we can move on to the next slide. Yeah. So the second phase, right, is when um, after a few weeks and the community transmission is kept low and stable, and that's when I think the government will come out to provide information on what type of activities classify for phase two. Yeah. So this afternoon, the Straits Time did a live interview, and they were saying that for phase three, which is like life as usual before COVID, that can only happen after the vaccine is found. So we can predict that phase three is going to take around 1 to 2 years. It will be 2021. Okay, so I first covered some of the businesses here for 2nd of June. Yeah, this list is like basic pet services, school uniform, resellers, and home businesses. So these are some of the activities that they can start. Okay, so this is public information, but the point I want to to emphasize is how to go back to office. Okay,
Mm,
so this one, the MOMD came up with some clarification on how to monitor the staff. And I would think, right, and I would strongly really recommend that everybody, even for a very small enterprise, to have a going back to work kind of policy. Because and it's really good to appoint a particular safe management officer to take care of the safety distancing measures. Okay, so you can Google from Enterprise Singapore as well. They provide a list of how to go back, including staggering the lunch hour, working in two shifts. The employees will go back on different working hours, meaning some will maybe work from 8 to 4, 10 to 6. So basically, the idea is to spread the
Ivy, are you there? I think there's a bit of a lagging. Hi, are you there, Ivy? Okay, please stay on the line. I think there's just a bit of lagging. Hang on, Ivy will be back with us shortly. Just hang on. Let me try to connect with her.
Is this okay now?
Thank God you're
Yeah,
back here
I
with
was
us.
about to do hotspot.
Questions.
Yeah, I was about to do hotspot. Okay,
Okay, just a
so
minute. We have a
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Linus. Okay, just a minute. Okay, just a minute. Ivy, do you want to answer the question first, or you want to finish up this slide first? Then we move on to the question.
Okay, maybe I finish up the slide. So
Ah,
basically, even if you are a approved essential services,
mm,
like I also got businesses that I got an
mm,
approval. But let's say if
mm,
you have three packs, for example,
mm,
the government is only approving one third of the workforce. Meaning, for example, your staff is 100. The government will
mm.
only approve about 30%. So
30.
you have
Okay.
to put the whole list up and then under the Ministry of Industry and Trade. And then after that, they will give you a list of people, and it's only about one third. So
Mm,
basically, even for this category of essential services, right, the government is expecting that one third of the workforce go back, and the rest, right,
mm.
remain working from home. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and
Still can run, but it's like you are capped to a one third of your actual threshold, something like
correct,
that.
correct,
Manpower.
correct. Correct.
Mm,
And about how to return to office, right? This are the people that is in office, and basically we still need to check temperature, and we still need to keep track of the travel and medical history, and in fact the MOM did give list of what is the how do you do your workstation, like provide those transparent shield, or how the meeting rooms should be kept. And most of the time it's still strongly encouraged that people do not gather. I think
mm,
I feel that this is very important because we do not want a case where we just have one particular oversight, or let down of our preventive measures, and we get
mm.
one spreading, and then we are all back to square one. So I think
True,
it's
true.
area that I hope, like everybody
Mm,
really do their best to
mm.
like this
Do not.
happen for more. Yeah,
Yeah, correct.
correct, correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I can take the question now. We
Oh, you
can
can
take
take
the
the question. Okay,
yeah.
just a short one. Okay, this
Yeah.
is from Linus. Linus is with us. Okay, so
Mm,
Linus' question is, okay, commercial office tenant just commenced lease in January this year.
mm,
However, this pandemic
mm,
caused them to
mm,
close their education setup in March. Tenant
mm,
now would like to just forfeit their 2 months deposit and
mm,
break lease. Any
mm.
recourse for the landlord since the law enacted to protect the tenant in a way. Is it true?
Uh, Okay, actually, I myself have the same case.
Good. Okay,
Okay,
then you can share more on this.
I'm okay. Honestly, let me put it this way, lah. I guess if
Mm,
the business really closed down, right, and
mm,
like is when it comes to all the commercial terms, right? Usually, uh, for commercial, we don't have small claims. We have to go to courts, and of course, I would think it's best to just approach the landlord and just really try to negotiate. Try to but because it's already March, right? You probably already left the place. But
mm,
before taking the action, I would think it's good to really try to negotiate with the landlord and see
mm,
whether you can find a replacement tenant or something
mm.
that is possible. So frankly speaking, it's very hard. I mean, you can try, like, I mean, I do not know what does Linus want. He wants to get back his deposit, is it? Or
No,
what is it?
actually, I think the question is more like he's actually seeking help for the landlord. He says any recourse for the landlord since the law enacted to protect tenant in a way. So I think in Linus' aspect, he's feeling that it's very unfair for the landlord to bear the brunt of because the tenant is intending to just lose that 2 months and run off. Then the landlord lot will be empty with
Like this.
no income. So what is the landlord going to do? What's the recourse, right? I think Linus say we are at tenant's mercy. Okay, so Ivy, what do you have to say about this?
Okay, it's a situation which I face, and I
Mm,
was frustrated personally because my
mm,
tenant
yes.
stays at Sixth Avenue. My tenant is very rich,
Uh,
so I didn't do anything until now, frankly speaking. But
mm,
I just quickly after he left, he just dropped off the keys and he left. So
mm,
I just work on looking for a replacement tenant. I think for the time being, as property agent as well, we focus on looking for a replacement tenant. And then
mm,
under the COVID-19 bill, is a place for landlord and tenant to so-called iron out all these contract issues.
mm,
And the COVID-19 bill is quite wide, includes like wedding, banquet, and a lot of all the contracts that was done prior to COVID. So I think
mm,
there's no harm in maybe just writing in because the legal fee is free.
mm,
In previous time, maybe I won't do it because
mm,
commercial leases, you can't go to small claim. Even if you go, which I did before, the judge will tell you find your own lawyers and go to the
mm,
court, and it's not worth the money. So I think there's no harm. You just give a Ministry of Law a call and ask them for advice. I mean, there's
mm,
some pages actually you just need to fill up with this file and all the tenancy to be attached, right? And go
mm,
for it. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so
mm,
maybe I have to disclaim myself. But it's
mm,
something which I did for. It's something which I'm also a victim lah. So I'm sharing more from a person. I'm also a common victim. I'm also a landlord there. But I would think that if in the education sector, it's really true that they were hit very, very badly. Lah. So compared to my tenant's case, right, it's very different. So I
mm,
think right now, do it concurrently, get help from under the COVID-19 bill, and at the same time look for a replacement tenant. And I guess be willing to go in on a lower rent. I guess
mm.
if it's quite difficult to get back the old rent. Even for me, I went down 15%. Yeah. So
One
it's
five,
about
huh? 15. Okay.
1.5
Okay.
for
So maybe
myself.
for this part, Linus, I can help a bit. Huh? I can share with you a bit. Ivy, do you mind on this
Sure,
part
no,
of his
no
Linus
problem.
question?
No.
Actually, I don't think that the landlord is actually at the mercy of the tenant. Okay. When you all sign the contract, right, there's actually legal binding on both parties. So, of course, this tenant, I would say they're trying to play punk, so called. Okay, in my common sense language, because I used to work in a law firm for chasing after debts collections. Okay,
Mm.
so what we do is if there's such a situation and you know that, oh, the tenant is trying to break lease or run away and they run a business, perhaps you can try to issue a LOD, letter of demand, straight to the registered address of the tenant. Okay, or email is also sufficient. You must cover yourself in black and white no matter what happens. Okay, and then if the tenant is I mean actually knows that, oh, there's a law binding, they should be able to come back to you and try to make some negotiations to pay you rather than leave you with nothing just that 2 months. So then negotiations will come in. This is one way we try to claw back as much as possible for the part of the landlord, rather than leave the landlord with nothing. But on the other side, right, what Ivy is doing is because as a business owner, for commercial, you all really have to juggle on your cash flow. So that's why
Mm,
she's so doing the more practical way out, and that is to quickly find another tenant to come in.
replacement.
Yeah, but for my side, where the legal side is concerned, we definitely must make a clean break with the first boyfriend, then we take on the second boyfriend. This is to prevent the landlord from having any encumbrances later when they take on this one and then this one come back and say, hey, actually, I never say on the go. So I sue you now. This will become a problem. So we always can depend on the law to go against the one that owes you that money. Okay, so now back to Ivy to share further. Okay.
Sure. Okay. So we can continue on the phase two, right? So for phase two is we can show the
Go back
slides
to the
again.
slide. Hang on a second.
Yeah,
Give me a
yeah,
minute.
no
I give
problem.
you the slides. Phase two,
We
is
are
it?
we already exceeded 30 minutes. No, phase two, yeah, phase two. Yeah. So
Okay.
okay. So we can skip this slide. We go down. Okay, so for phase two, right? Why I want to touch on this particular grant, because I think very few businesses know again. This is effective 1st of June. You can start to apply. It's called the SG United traineeship. So basically, it's just for new graduates from Poly and from NTU. And the badges that they consider is 2019 and 2020. Basically, if you hire them, you only pay 20% of the cost. Do not even need to pay CPF. Just only pay 20% of, let's say you give them an allowance. It's something like internship. So in a way, you give them work experience, and the government will help you subsidize 80% of the cost. This is something which I think the government have not talked a lot about. That's why I wanted to share this.
Mm.
You can Google it, and then you can apply under the WSG, and then 1st of June onwards, you can it's open for application. Yeah.
Wow,
And
80%. Remember
yeah,
Ivy said over
80%. The next one is 80% as well. Okay, so the
here.
next one is the productivity solutions
Mm.
grant. So in
Okay.
particular, I felt that for businesses under phase two, right? I mean,
Mm.
you still can't start work. You do not know when. I think there's no point in like this. There's no better time. Just grab the chance now and move online. Try to think of innovative way to sell your services online. Like for real estate agents, we are doing Zoom viewing. For a lot
Mm.
of trainings, I've done a lot of Zoom trainings. I've done trainings even for meditation, even for yoga. So I would think make use of this chance. Okay, so this productivity solution grants basically you can have hardware and software on 80%. Um, Hardware is up to 3 computers. The authorized so-called approved vendors are Singtel and M1. You can contact each one of them for a quote on what are the type of hardwares available. And then software is a lot. Microsoft 365 to
Mm.
accounting software to Zoom group package. Like this is the best time ever to get yourself upgraded and online.
Mm.
So this is a grant which I think fewer people know, and it's something which I want to touch about, because like the rest of the grants, the COVID grants have been very heavily advertised. Yeah, like this one, the JSS property tax rebate, COVID-19 bill. So these are grants which the newspaper has been talking a lot about. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So okay, you want to continue? Okay. So
Can. You have time.
okay, so for if it's commercial, right? Okay, like for myself, I'm a commercial landlord, right? We can only do loans deferment only for principal. we will
Sorry,
still need.
Ivy, can you repeat one more time? Just now when you talked, there was some interference, so your voice was missing.
Okay, so
One more.
as a commercial owner, this is one of the scheme that's available. Meaning, if you have an outstanding mortgage on your property, I would suggest you take a deferment. But the difference between commercial and residential is that commercial you can only defer principal. You will still have to pay interest, but that would bring your cost down a lot. Like maybe you will be just paying about a third of your installment, and it's something which I think in times like that where cash is king, cash flow is king of kings, I think it's really a good time to just defer and then have the cash on standby for your working capital, for your inventory purchase to pay your staff, etc. So this is something which I think is very good, and there's no question asked. You do not have to abide by TDSR. You just need to fill up online form and it's all done. Yeah. So it's something which I would strongly suggest all business owners, if you have commercial loans on your businesses, you should capitalize on this. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mm,
Recently, I have a friend, just out of curiosity, I have a friend whose husband is running a business, and
mm,
recently he took on a commercial loan. Is it
mm.
actually good at this point of time when it's times are like so uncertain to actually take a commercial loan?
Commercial loan to as a working capital? Working
Probably,
capital?
yeah. Probably, yeah.
Ah,
Correct. Yes.
okay.
Mm.
Okay, let's put it this way is I think if they took a working capital loan, right now the government is giving like 80 or 90% is backed by government. So
Mm.
all the banks will give you. There's no question asked so long as you show them financials,
Sound.
good figures, sound financials, they will give you. So
Mm.
and it's backed by the government. So I would think that the key thing is about really surviving the crisis, moving
Mm.
on, just stay alive till phase two, so that everybody can operate and business semi as usual. But at least there's cash flow coming in. So I find
It's
that
true.
if you need, right, if you need the working capital, I think it's something that we should get, and the interest rate are really low. It's like 3-4% versus the usual 6-7%. So it's really
Mm.
heavily subsidized and backed by government. So
Oh,
yeah, backed by government, 90%.
3 4%.
80%,
Mm.
then I think there was another subsequent help. Oh yeah, and there is more help coming to be announced, I think next Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to wait for it. We do not know what is available. I'm also hoping for more things.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Next
Yeah.
one, you want to share about the income tax as well?
Okay, for income tax, I think corporate tax has already been automatically deferred. So it's quite easy. Yeah. So
Mm.
I think insurance for companies is minimum, so nothing much unless you buy items like keyman insurance. Wow, then that one is huge expense. So it's those very big insurance items, keyman insurance, something you should try to defer the insurance. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so the next one that I'm talking about is pretty general. It's like talking about preserving cash flow. So Anna was discussing, and we talk about like how can we help businesses survive. So basically, right now you can't improve revenue. Okay, the only thing you have is grants and funding. So it's something which if you need, right, I think you should go out and take and really I know it's confusing that there's so many schemes available, but spend the time and take the effort, and I think it's really worth it because I think the government also came out with all these help. They also want the businesses to grab them. So the
Mm.
next category I'm talking about would be like cutting expenses, where like all the unnecessary costs. I think it's a good time to really sit down and examine, do you really need, all the expenses that
Mm.
you have been utilizing.
Mm.
And it's a good time to really rethink what is necessary, and then those that is variable and is not that needed, I would think that it's a good time to cut them. Yeah, I think a lot
Mm.
of time we go into subscription mode, we buy a lot of
Mm.
things. Like myself, I buy a lot of subscription for magazines. I bought a lot of such things.
Okay.
I haven't cut them, but I think it's time to cut. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, because just seriously, you won't have time to read as well. Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, I think this is the message basically. That
Okay.
is
And then fine, is this the
yeah,
next
some
one you want
final
to share?
yeah, the
Okay.
final guidelines is I think as all the businesses is really time that cash flow is really critical. You have to be on really check your bank balances regularly and monitor your receivables and all the expenses so
Keep
that
track
if
lah. Keep track.
yeah, I think if really necessary, if you can't get grants, can't get funding, maybe you really need to pace your payment, work out something with your suppliers or even staff. Like I mean, it's something which maybe is sensitive, but we also know that we have businesses that is working out, like to clear leave or take a bit of pay cut. Basically, is to just help everybody get through this period of time. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's all I have for today. Yeah.
Okay. Hang on, ah. We'll come back to you. Right.
Sure.
So I hope today our dear Ivy spending her precious time with us have obtained her nuggets of wisdom with respect how to survive this difficult COVID-19 situation, right? She also mentioned about cutting costs, keeping it tight. She has also mentioned about grants and subsidies. She has also mentioned about leveraging on the bank's loans, which the interest rates is now low at 3 to 4%. I hope you have caught it as well as I did. She has also mentioned about some subsidies for employing the new graduates or newly from ITE or polytechnic, right? Okay, and these are some of the new things that we can also expect to take place. Some of them will take place after the 2nd of
That's very
June.
good.
Okay. So right now, before we close shop for this thing, we want to know if you still have any questions. Plus, please just give it to us now so that Ivy can address you on the spot. Yeah, since she's
Best
here with
effort,
us,
best effort.
don't worry. She's quite experienced, so she will be able to help you. But if not, then she will pull you one side later and tell you more. Okay. So if y'all do have questions, please come in with your questions and we welcome questions and interaction. Yeah.
We're good.
Okay. I
No
think it's
questions.
a bit quiet at the moment. I hope Linus is still here with us. If there's no question, I just want to touch on a little bit more how to help the landlords in collections. Okay. So like was yourself, Ivy, if let's say your tenant is owing you money and trying to MIA, what
Already
we'll
at my
do,
room.
we'll do a check on the company.
Yes.
Usually we do litigation trace, we'll do a company registration trace just to see how big is the made up of the company, whether is it just a $1 paid up company or is a tens of thousands paid up company or $1 million company. Then from
Mm.
then we know where it hits them most and that's where we will attack from to ask them back for the money. Yeah, because I do know that when times are hard, there are some companies they try to squirm their way through and try not to pay, and it's becoming a very serious problem for our landlords who actually are working very hard to survive and provide for the family. So I hope that don't lose hope that thinking that Singapore's law cannot help. Yes, in fact, actually we can. But for your letter of demand, if the letter of demand you have been sending yourself is not powerful enough, do consider getting it from a law firm. Okay, usually when they see a law firm's letter of demand, which I've sent out many last time myself, okay, that's usually if the company is of good standing, they will pay very close attention already. They will think of ways how to pay you back or maybe negotiate down to a certain lump sum figure to pay you. Yeah, because don't play with a law firm. It could get really sticky because if you go all the way to judgment, it could cost you additional $2,000 or $3,000 more on top of whatever you're owing to the landlord under the contract. It's $2,000 to $3,000 more, just all the way to judgment stage. Yeah,
Mm.
and forever under litigation, you have that trace on you. You're going to be a black sheep. And when you want to take loan or whatsoever, the banks will hold back from you. And at this moment, I don't think you want to do that. Right.
And I
Okay.
think your 2-3,000 is outdated. Now it's very expensive already. Really
Judgment, two, 3,000. Our time is about
more than that.
2,000. So I'm,
Now
your law
it's
firm so
very
expensive.
expensive already. No, not just my law firm is very expensive already.
Expensive already. Yeah. Roughly around how much for your judgment?
I think to go to judgment, I just did one case last year. The legal fee came out to be about 6,000, but he paid up in the end.
6,000 is all the way until beyond
It was
judgment.
it was judgment. He didn't the tenant didn't turn up. So
So
it was
it
that
went to a hearing also. Was there a hearing?
he didn't turn up for the hearing.
So hearing wise, beyond that judgment, you go all the way to hearing stage,
Ah,
will be more expensive. So
yeah, yeah.
legal costs has not actually moved up by a lot over the years. Okay,
Okay.
has not moved up a lot over the years because the rates are still very competitive with each other. So hopefully they won't move up too much, because if not, then next time when we need their help, then 我们就要还多钱. Okay, but if you just stop at judgment, okay, it should be around $2,000 to $3,000 can be settled. Yeah, but also depending on the severity of the case.
Complexity.
Yeah, if let's say
I
you're
see.
chasing some international arbitration, it crosses the border, it will be definitely more expensive. So you cannot use this $2,000 to $3,000 mark to make that kind of estimation. Okay, but if you happen to go all the way to somewhere around judgment stage, I was saying, right, from your summons, letter of demand summons, all the way to your judgment, it should be somewhere around there, not too far off. Yeah. Okay, so hang on a second. So before we move on, is there any questions for Ivy here so that you can actually tap upon her expertise and knowledge so it can help you more with your business? Linus, no more question already, Linus. Linus, stay. Okay, fine. If there's no more questions, right? Okay, we will still have another session with Ivy probably in the next 1 or 2 weeks, right? On new topics to help others. Okay, so now I wish to flash this to you. Okay, so if you do wish to connect more with Ivy Yo, please text her at handphone number 8500 1366. 8500 1366, or do save the link below and connect with her instantly at her Facebook page. Okay, so any problems can just with respect to your commercial property or businesses, you can just connect with her. Okay, can. So any other things you want to throw out to our audience here, Ivy, before we say good night?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Good. Huh? Okay, hang on. Just checking. Any more last? Okay, can, will do. So, okay, so before we close, I will do my little bit of advertisement for myself. So if you wish to connect with me, I'm Anna Ng at Client Centric Property. For real estate or online business matters, right? You can look for me. Okay, be it podcasting or anything about maybe even branding, just click on and look for me. Okay, so that's my website. Okay, that's all, and see you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, good night.